first episode of Listen Up Kansas. With me, I'm Misty Hobbs. I am the Democratic candidate for House Representative of the great state of Kansas in District 82, which is Derby and Mulvane, Kansas. I wanted to start something here so that we could start off this campaign with transparency, so that I could tell you what's getting ready to be voted on. And continue the conversation, because being a House representative means that I am listening to you. And in order to listen to you, you have got to know what the issues are, right? You've got to know everything that's going on up in Topeka. So that's my job. And that's how I will see it, as someone to represent you, but you've got to know what's going on. And that's my job to bring to you what the issues are. So after all that rambling, I'm going to talk about the hot button topic. There's many right now in America, let's be honest. But right now, other than the baby formula shortage, which is touching our house too, with our grandbabies, and I will do that on another episode. Right now, it's abortion. And I've got a lot of information for you. I'm really going to try to get through it as quick as possible. And I'm going to link everything, every resource I've pulled, everything I'm talking about down below in the description. And also I will link my website. And if you would like to contribute to our campaign, then please do so. Feel free. All right, let's get into it. So right now, what I'm going to do is tell you what's going on. What's going on is we're getting ready to vote in August on an amendment to the Kansas Constitution. People are calling it the Value Them Both bill. And what it is it's an actual amendment for abortion, or against rather. Right now, as it stands, the Kansas Supreme Court ruling, which was a 6-1 decision in 2019. I'm just going to read it really quickly for you, is based off of the Kansas Constitution of 1861. In that Constitution, it says all men are possessed of equal and inalienable natural rights, among which are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So what they ruled was that Section 1 of the Kansas Bill of Rights affords protection of the right of personal autonomy, which includes the ability to control one's body, to assert bodily integrity, and to exercise self-determination. So that's where it stands right now. That's what our Supreme Court in Kansas stated. So what is the actual law then? As of January 1st, 2021, abortions in Kansas must be performed by a licensed physician. Abortions are prohibited after 22 weeks, except in cases of life or health endangerment. Partial birth abortions and abortions based on gender selection are prohibited. Private insurance coverage of abortions is limited to case of life endangerment unless enrollees purchase additional coverage specific for abortions. Public funding for abortion is available only in cases of life endangerment, rape, or incest. Patients are required to undergo an ultrasound before an abortion. There's a 24-hour waiting period after state-directed counseling prior to receiving an abortion, and parental consent is required for minors to receive an abortion. That's our law right now. They keep running these commercials that are saying, that partial birth abortions are allowed. They make it sound like women that are a week away from giving birth are just like, oh no, I've changed my mind. And that's not what's happening at all. They're also saying that, making sure your hard-earned tax dollars don't go to fund abortion. That's not at all what our law states. Our law says public funding for abortion is available only in cases of life endangerment, rape, or incest. It's not at all what they're making it sound like. So now let's just get on to the bill, shall we? I don't know how many of you have read the bill, but it's right there for you. Again, I will link it. You can go to kansaslegislature.gov, I think, but I will have it down there for you. So value them both constitutional amendment, HCR 5003, proposes an amendment to the Kansas Constitution for consideration at a special election called on August 2nd, 2022, to be held in conjunction with the primary election held on that date. That amendment, if approved by a majority of Kansas voters, remember, it's up to us, okay? So it's up to us, the voters, would create a new section in the Kansas Bill of Rights concerning the regulation of abortion. The resolution states the amendment may be cited as the value them both amendment. Okay, so now remember though, just a few minutes ago, I already read you the law. I already read you the Bill of Rights. We already talked about the Kansas Constitution, the Kansas Bill of Rights. The new section would state the Kansas Constitution does not require funding of abortion and does not create a right to abortion or secure a right to abortion. The language would state, to the extent permitted by the U.S. Constitution, the people of Kansas, through their elected state representatives and senators, may pass laws regarding abortion, including but not limited to laws that account for circumstances of pregnancy resulting from rape or incest, or circumstances of necessity when necessary to save the life of the mother. Okay, so basically we're voting on something that we already have. We already have limits. We already have these things. We have these provisions. Also, you must know that in order to obtain a safe and legal abortion in the state of Kansas, I believe it's 2 places that you can do it. We have 105 counties, 98% of the counties, you can't get, there's no place to even get one. So we have a lot of rules on it already. They can pass laws regarding abortion, including but not limited to laws that account for circumstances of pregnancy resulting from rape or incest. Okay, we already have that in place. So basically, it just feels like they're going to make it, if we've already got these in place, then what are we actually voting on? What is it that you're actually wanting us to do? So this also says that a vote for value them both amendment would affirm that there is no Kansas constitutional right to abortion or to require the government funding of abortion, and would reserve to the people of Kansas through their elected state legislatures the right to pass laws to regulate abortion. It's already regulated. It's already regulated. A vote against the value them both amendment would make no changes to the Constitution of the state of Kansas and could restrict the people through their elected state legislatures from regulating abortion by leaving in place the recently recognized right to abortion. So if you vote no on August 2nd, then the law stands as it is right now, which is pretty much the rest of the United States. That's pretty much how it goes, for the exception of a lot of these new states that are popping up and saying, nope, like Florida. Florida, no abortion after 15 weeks. There is no concession made for incest, rape, or human trafficking. Very large. We have a large here in Kansas with human trafficking. But it also has the same verbiage as value them both. And I find that really interesting because it seems like everybody's coming out with the same thing. And it's like, wow, when did that start? Like, yeah, of course, as Americans, as states, we unite. Of course we do. And we kind of have the same ideas, and maybe this state is strict on this. But this is really kind of scary what's happening in the South and in the Midwest. Oklahoma at fertilization. So basically a complete ban. We as Kansans, we're going to be voting on this after the decision, the actual decision from the Supreme Court of the United States, which were supposed to get their decision sometime like mid to late June, maybe early July, because of all the, ruckus and the leak of the opinion. We're going to be one of the first states to vote on this amendment to our own constitution on something that we already have sufficient laws in place for. Don't let people mislead you into thinking that Kansas is a state that just willy-nilly you can get an abortion. Hey, they're gonna get one over here. That's not how it goes. We have things in place. They're also not taking our money to fund abortions. It's not how that works. Usually when a woman does make the god-awful decision, and it is a god-awful decision, and that is my stance on it, but that is my personal stance. But even to the woman having to make that decision, it's a god-awful decision. It's a decision that should be made between her and her doctor, or her and her spouse, or her and whoever. If it's just her, it's her decision. And it's none of our business what the circumstances are. It just isn't. It's just not. You know why? Because we are being told that we are allowed to have autonomy, that we are smart enough and know what we're doing. Voting for this amendment literally is taking the right of a woman, whatever her reason may be. It's taking her right away to say, I can think for myself. And then where does it stop? Where does that end? Because now we're seeing in, Louisiana, they're talking about the IUD. Is that something they need to be looking at? So then are they going to come after our birth control pills? Where does it stop? And that's what concerns me most. Who is this really protecting? And why is it necessary to revisit? Why are we continuously revisiting the past? Are they that afraid of the future? We need to move forward. We have some really amazing and scary things facing us, way scarier than abortion. There's so much happening, and you've got to throw us back into something that happened 50 years ago. That concerns me. That concerns me a lot. So the reason why I am so fascinated by Florida, though, is because we have found out in the last year or so that there have been some bills presented in Kansas that are provided by a Florida think tank, and they're called the Solutions Project, solutionsproject.org. And basically they're on their site, it says they're nonpartisan, and they develop bills for states to put up. Now, I don't know about you, but in the 46 years of my life, I have never once had to call on anybody in Florida or a think tank to decide what I should do next, or what I should propose, or what I should think about anything. There were two bills that went up in the House in February, and like 5 days apart. One was on the 10th, one was on the 15th. You've got House Concurrent Resolution number 5027 and number 5029. This was a resolution to appeal to the Congress of the United States to call a convention of the states for the purpose of proposing amendments to the Constitution of the United States that impose limits on the federal government. That's one of them. That's 5027. 5029 is saying that it's being called for the exclusive purpose of proposing an amendment to the Constitution of the United States establishing term limits for members of Congress. Both bills are kind of the same, but not at all. One talks about the fact that Americans across the political spectrum agree that elections in the United States of America should be free from the disproportional influence of special interest and fair enough that any citizen can be elected into office. Disproportional influence of special interest. Okay. So what do we call this? Because I can sit here and argue all day long, because everybody likes to use the Bible, that all of the bills that are going through right now, or especially the ones at abortion, let's keep it to abortion. I'm trying to stay on topic here, people. That it's largely made up of a religious belief. Yet I see this saying that, hey, Congress seems to have a lot of people in their pocket, special interest groups. It goes on to say the Kansas legislature perceives the need for a convention in order to ensure balance and integrity in our elections by proposing an amendment to the Constitution of the United States that will establish term limits for members of Congress to prevent the accumulation of inordinate power in members with longevity who are able to amass high amounts of funds for re-election. So in the resolution 5029, it seems like they're really concerned with money and term limits, and hey, these people are getting a lot of money and it destroys the integrity of elections. Okay, cool. That's 5029. 5027, again, week apart, says that the founders of the Constitution of the United States empowered state legislatures to be guardians of liberty against future abuses of power by the federal government. Okay, I get it. It's colorful, but I get it. The federal government has invaded the legitimate role of the states through the manipulative process of federal mandates, most of which are unfunded and encroach on personal civil liberties through coercion and punishment for non-compliance. So this is talking about the masks. That's what that's talking about. They're upset because they feel that the federal government overstepped and encroached or infringed on their rights. Kind of know what that feels like right now. I think every woman in Kansas kind of knows what that feels like right now. It goes on to say that it is the solemn duty of the states to protect the liberty of our people, particularly for generations to come. Kind of sounds like they're setting up the whole abortion thing right there. By proposing amendments to the Constitution of the United States through a convention of the states under Article 5 for the purpose of restraining these and related abuses of power. So if you're mad because you had to wear a mask and you don't think it's fair that the federal government said something and said it can be punishable, what makes you think that you can do that to women, that you can take away our right to self-govern? I don't understand how you can argue that hypocrisy, because that's what it is. It's just pure hypocrisy. And if we want to talk about money, we want to talk about disproportionate funds, and you're afraid that, our elections are being swayed because of Congress and not having term limits and that they're able to amass a lot of funds. Well, let's go to the money. The following shows the top donors to the committees registered in support of the amendment. Value them all. Archdiocese of Kansas City, Kansans for Life, Catholic Diocese of Wichita, Archdiocese of Oklahoma City, Church of the Ascension, Right Way Kansas Action Fund. Basically, I will tell you this, that the donors for getting this pro-life thing going far outweighed by, it was like $600,000, the people that are the right to choose. So we have a Kansas House that's concerned about Congress and that they are able to get too much money and that they're swaying political influence. Even cite our Constitution, the Kansas Constitution, and saying that political power is inherent of the people. But yet they get all the money to push this amendment for a law we already have in place with very strict standards. So I just really feel like we're being duped. The nation will be looking at us whether you're seeing it on CNN or Fox News or MSNBC, it doesn't matter. They're going to be looking at us August 2nd. And we need to be the leader. Kansas has been a leader since 1861 when we entered into the Union as a free state. It was a leader again with Brown versus Board of Education. We have a chance to be a leader again. By the way, they tried this. They tried this in 2020, and it got shot down. Yep, this very thing. And they're doing it again. They're going to keep doing it until they get their way. And I suggest that we get them out of our way and out of our way of progress, because we have a lot coming at us and we have a future that we have to get ready for. And going back into our past is no way to do this. So on that note, I think I've said everything I can say. Vote no, August 2nd. America will be watching us. And guys, look it up for yourself. Don't listen to me. You don't have to. Read it, research it, make your own decisions, whether you're for or against it. I just want to know that the people of Kansas, and especially the people of District 82, are researching, and that you're using your own brain and your own heart, and you are discerning what these laws and bills and everything that is being put in place, that you're actually looking at it. And then how does my opinion affect many people? Or do I even have an opinion on it? So that was the first episode. I'm signing off. This has been Listen Up Kansas. I'm Misty Hobbs for District 82 candidate, your Democratic candidate. We've never had a Democrat in this seat before, so let's see if we can change that.